It's good to see you again. For those of you who are, I guess, in the second lab course, all of you are in the second lab course. So, what we are going to do a course introduction today, and then there has been a little of changes in the lab course. We have tried to make things easier for everyone. And please let me know if you have a question. Let's begin the introduction. Course introduction. Let's see. Okay. So office hours are going to be Wednesdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Please make sure to send an email before coming to the office hours, and you don't really need to schedule a time with me during these 2 hours. You can come anytime, and don't make yourself limited to these 2 hours. There are no textbooks for the course. Lecture notes and lab instructions and the recordings will be available on Blackboard. So you already know this. Those of you who had lab 1 with me, you have to check Blackboard regularly. All quizzes will be given on Blackboard, and all submissions are also on Blackboard. And as you're going to see, we actually changed the lectures a little bit to make everything more online. So we are planning, the department is planning to make the lecture part of these lab courses online. I guess makes a lot of sense. So we are running a test case this semester. So all of the lectures are going to be online. We don't really have extensive lectures anyways, so you are not going to see that much of a change. The difference is watching these recordings online is going to be mandatory and a part of your grade. So it is not going to be a bonus anymore to come to the lecture or watch the lectures. So everything is online. The lectures, the Monday lecture, the theory lectures will be posted, I guess, 1 week before the labs. You can watch them on Monday or any time, but your attendance will be checked. And how we check attendance is I will just go at the end of the week and see how many of you have actually clicked on the video link and watched it, right? The same is true for the actual lab recordings that you're supposed to watch them on Wednesday, but you can watch them anytime before the pre-lab quiz. And you already know about the pre-lab quizzes, very simple quizzes, 2 to 4 question quizzes, no calculations required, just to make sure they are here, just to make sure that you have watched these lectures. Do you have any questions? So everything is going to be online. I will be here on Mondays to answer questions if you want, or you can just come in and say, I didn't really understand what the lab is, please teach me again, and we will go over the theory and also the lab part of the lab together in class, but there is no official class held on Mondays. There are a couple of you, I remember, coming to those sections. Hope to see you again on Mondays and Wednesdays if needed. And but we won't be here on Friday. Do we have any questions? So it's clear. The recordings for each lab will be uploaded 1 week before the lab, before the actual lab is done. You have to watch those recordings, and then you have to take the quiz. Quizzes are very simple, as you know, but you will be there will be an attendance grade for watching the lectures. We're going to discuss the attendance grade later on. The lab schedule is right here. So I just added a couple of other columns, the lecture, lab training column as well, to the lab schedule. So the point is, this week you will see this is the first week of classes. You will see the recording of the first lab, which will be done in the week 3 of classes, Uller buckling. The theory and the recording of theory and the actual lab uploaded on Blackboard. And then you have to take the quiz this Friday. The quiz will be open throughout the day on Friday. If you have a question, please ask me. Don't talk to each other in the class. Okay? Please don't talk to each other in the class. It's a little, it throws me off my balance. It's not an issue, but it just throws me off my balance. Thank you. Yes?
For the
Yes, we'll talk about that lab, that specific submission in a minute. Thank you for the question, though. So as you can see, the lectures are going to be uploaded at least 1 week before the actual lab, and then in lab 3, you will do the lab. You'll submit the lab report in lab in week 4, the lab 1 report in week 4, which is 1 week after the week of the lab, and that is due by Friday night. Right? The location of the lab, I think at this point you are familiar with all of these room numbers, but if you have an issue finding these room numbers, you have to reach out to me or your TA or the person in charge of that specific lab, and these people are listed here. The only lab that we might change or we might not do is the shark tube lab, because the equipment for it is not ready yet. We have the equipment, we can actually show you how to create a shark wave, a supersonic shark wave, but we can't really make any recording because everything happens so fast, so we have to buy very fine equipment for it. So yeah, I'm not sure if we are going to be ready this semester to do the lab, but it is listed there. And there are a couple of numerical labs, 3 numerical labs. This one, lab 6, CAD and meshing, lab 7 and lab 8. In these 3 labs, you'll essentially learn how to use ANSYS. ANSYS is one of the most popular simulation softwares, numerical analysis software in mechanical and aerospace engineering, and you can have access to a free version of it by just going to their website and downloading it. So it is going to be a good thing to show up on the resume in general. So first week, which is lab 6, you will learn how to create a CAD model and mesh that CAD model to make it ready for the computational fluid dynamic analysis, which will happen after the spring break. And then you're going to use that computational fluid dynamics data imported into a stress analysis module to analyze the deformation, right? If you don't really know, how many of you have done numerical simulation before? Okay, that's expected, a very few. It makes a lot of sense because you have never had a course in which you were taught any numerical modeling. So if you don't really know anything about this, it's all right. We are going to learn these together, right? I will upload step-by-step instructions, and you can reach out to your TAs and me outside of the class and lab time to ask questions. But one thing that I really want you to learn all of these lab courses is this numerical modeling. Age of computers, right? Information age. It's very important for you guys to know how to actually run a numerical simulation. Do you have any questions? Okay. The lab reports for these, though, is essentially going to be a mini project, meaning we have combined all of the 3 labs together to have a final lab report. That is about all of them. So I will essentially assign you a mini project topic. I will tell you that you have to analyze this using ANSYS. First week you will learn how to make a CAD model and mesh it, and then the second week you will learn how to analyze, investigate the flow, the effect of flow passing through the whatever that is, column, and then the third week you will learn how to investigate the deformation of that column due to that air passing over it. And then you combine all of them in one big lab course. And for this you will get, instead of 5 points that you usually get for lab course, for this one you will get 15 points. This is how we incorporated the final project that we canceled last semester, the previous semester. We have incorporated the final project within the class. So you don't really have to work on a final project that is separate from the lab course. Does this make sense? Who asked the question about this? There's one person in class who asked a question about this computational labs. Did I answer your question? Do we have any other questions? Okay. And the lab assistant for these 3 is listed as not applicable because I guess the lab assistant for this is going to be me, because your TAs are not super familiar with ANSYS. So if you have any questions, I'm sure your TA can help you. but you want to make sure to reach out to me if you're not satisfied with your TA's answer. Okay. So these 3 labs are very important to me. Let's move on. Okay. There will be, the labs are going to be a little different this semester. We are going to have 12 students in a lab section instead of 10, so 2 more students per section. So I have left it to the TAs on top how to handle 2 more students in the class. And you are also, I'm sure they are going to be open to your feedback. We can divide the lab into 2 smaller lab sections, 2 1-hour lab section, and ask 6 students to come for the first one and the other 6 to come for the second one, or we can have more experiments set up. Doesn't really matter. This is between you and your TA. And we are ready for both cases. You already know how the teams are assigned. If you don't really choose your teammates, you will be assigned to a team and by your TA. If you're not satisfied with your teammates, because this happened actually during the last semester, and this usually happens a lot, you want to reach out to me or your TA as soon as possible, and we'll try to help you fix the issue while remaining anonymous. Do you have any questions? Okay. Lab report format, there was some inconsistency between the formatting I mentioned in the syllabus for the last semester and the template I had posted. I have removed all of the formatting references, guidelines from the syllabus. So you want to make sure you take these templates and use it for your lab reports. And pre-lab, we did talk about this, and you have already done this once, so you know that the pre-lab quizzes will be posted on Friday. They will be open throughout the Friday. You will get 60 minutes to answer the questions, but to answer the questions, you don't really need more than 5 minutes, as you are all aware. But if you need more than 60 minutes for whatever reason, doesn't really matter to me. Please reach out to me, and I will make sure that you get more than 60 minutes that is slotted to you. And lab reports are going to be due the Friday after the week of the lab by end of the day. If you need extensions, you know my policy about the late submissions. I don't really accept any late submissions. That doesn't mean there cannot be any excused late submissions or absences. If you have an issue, if you can't make it to a class for whatever reason, reasoning doesn't really matter to me. Or if you can't make it to a lab, or if you need extension for a lab report, you want to make sure to reach out to us, to me and your TA. Whenever you send an email to me, you want to make sure you CC your TA as well, and ask for the extension or ask to be excused in lab or what, right? So, but if you don't really reach out to us, you won't really get any credit for anything if you don't go to the lab specifically. You get a 0. I know. For your lab report, all of your team, if you miss a lab report, all of your team will get a 0. Grading criteria has changed a little bit. 10% of your grade will be given to the Monday lecture attendance. What this means, we are not going to have any lectures on Monday here. What this means is you have to make sure you watch the recording online, and then I can check who has watched it, and then I will track the attendance that way, right? The same is true for the recordings of the lab that will be posted. And the reason we have these is because we want to make sure that you know how to do the lab before actually going to the lab, right? So you can actually get there, do your data recording, whatever you want to do, and get out as soon as possible. You are welcome to spend more time if you want to play with the equipment. Attendance is a lab 10%, so 30% total is given to your attendance. 3 lab quizzes is 20%, as it was the case before. Lab reports are 50%, 10 lab reports, 50%. course evaluation is an extra 5%, a bonus 5% essentially, which was the case before. What happened? Yes. Which was the case before. But we don't really have any bonuses for attending the lectures on Mondays anymore. So I guess less bonuses. And also there is no final project. You already know this part of the grading. The lab report format is very important for me. Understanding your calculations and the equations is also very important for me. So whenever we say nonsensical calculations, what that means is if you calculate a very wrong value for whatever modulus of elasticity, for example, and you understand that you have calculated a very wrong value, but you don't really know how to correct it, that is fine, right? The only way you will actually get a 0 on your lab report is when you calculate a very, very wrong final result, and you have no idea that this is a very, very wrong final result, right? Your understanding is the thing that's important to me, right? Of course, you want to make sure you calculate the correct value, right? You want to reach out to me, your TA. Sometimes you want to do the experiment again, record data again. But if you can't really do it, you just have to explain that I know this is the wrong value. I think this is the reason for my value to be wrong, or whatever, right? Referencing is important. Following the formatting is important. So if you essentially miss any of these, or if you do any of this, if you fail to include any of the sections, you will get a 0 on your lab report. Does that make sense? I mean, we have done this once before, so you already are well aware of the policy. And the bonus points, there is only one bonus point this semester. Submitting the course evaluation is equal to 1 lab report. So essentially, what it means is that you can drop a lab report if you want to. There were some people who did not submit their course evaluation for some reason. That is, again, it is not mandatory. It is a bonus. You don't have to take advantage of it if you don't want to. If you have any issues about anything in the lab, anything, you want to make sure you reach out to me or your TA. If you have any issues with your TA, you want to make sure you reach out to me as soon as possible, right? I'm told that I'm a little intimidating for some reason. I come off as a little intimidating. But believe me, that is not the case. I will try to help you as much as possible for any issues you might have, okay? And yeah, maybe this is not my native language. That's why sometimes I come off as intimidating, but that is definitely not the case, in my own language at least. And the main person determining your grade is your TA, so you're essentially taking this course with your TA, right? You have to keep that in mind. Whenever you're filling out a course evaluation, you want to make sure you give us feedback about this TA. And these course evaluations, for me, is very important because it will determine whether I will rehire the TA. And course evaluations in general, are not very effective because it is very difficult to fire a professor, like for teaching, for horrible teaching methods. But it is very easy to fire a TA and replace a TA. So if you have, because I'm in charge of it, so your feedbacks are going to be heard. That's the point. And again, we are here to help you. So if you have an issue, if you have a question, or if you have a suggestion about the labs, I'm open to hearing it. And what else? Let's go over the syllabus. I mean, we did go over most of the syllabus, just the lab section. So if you are in the Monday lab section and the Thursday lab section, your TA is going to be Nafisa Mehtaj. If you are in the Tuesday lab sections, your TA is going to be Amin Nakhi. And Wednesday lab sections will be with Mario Villegas. So, do you have any questions? Yes.
So for the lectures and the training
doesn't have to be on Monday or Wednesday. You just have to watch it before the week of the lab. So as long as you watch these before the Sunday of the week of the lab, you should be fine. Yes.
I'm in section 6. It says 7:30, not 5:30.
Oh, it starts at 7:30.
That's what it says on the schedule.
Okay, I will. Please send me an email to remind me to fix this.
Okay, 7:30 is the correct time.
I don't know. I have to check. But I believe you. Mistakes happen. So, if you see something in any part of the lab instructions, lab lectures, or if you think I or our TAs are making a mistake, you want to make sure to bring this up. Bring it up. Do we have any other questions? We are still in the class. Class is not dismissed yet. Do we have any other questions? Okay, so class is dismissed.